Hello, everyone. All right.
Hi.
Hopefully, we won't have any internet issues or connectivity issues. But if you guys notice that I am breaking up, just raise your hand for me, and then I'll at least be able to see what's going on. But hi, I'm Amanda. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. So y'all tell me where you're from.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Oh, beautiful. I'm the PC in Mount Juliet.
Mm.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Amanda, Rhode Island.
We have another Amanda in Rhode Island. I heard in Missouri. Is that right?
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis. St. Louis.
Albany, New York.
I'm from Warrensburg, Missouri.
We're Salem, North Carolina.
Salem, North Carolina. North Carolina is so pretty.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
More North Carolina people.
Montclair, New Jersey.
I love that.
Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm excited about Grow Your Database. How many of you have heard it called a data bank? Anybody? So good. I got some hands. Perfect. If you don't know, we call our database a data bank in my program. And also throughout KW, you'll hear that from several team leaders and things like that. But we call it the data bank because that is where your money is, because it is known that if you systematically communicate with your database over the course of a year with at least 33 touches, we use a 36 touch, then you will close enough deals to net six figures. How many has heard that before? So your goal is to build your database as quickly as possible to 201 people. Those 201 people you're going to want to have, and I'm just talking for now while people get in, because if you know me, you know I always start about 5 minutes late just to give people opportunities to get in the room. But 201 people in your database with 4 pieces of contact information. So name, number, email, and address will net you six figures next year if they're on a 33 touch. How many of you have heard that before? Anybody?
Yeah, it's like a bold. I just got done with bold. So first, before I went through this.
Yep. I just got done with bold too. Who was your coach?
Oops, Steven.
Okay. All right. I was wondering if maybe you got Marcus, because Marcus, we had Dusty, but Marcus is in my market center. So he's an awesome coach too. Who knows why I always start 5 minutes late?
Maybe to get everybody a chance to join.
Real Force. This is your Mississippi Principal Broker, Tia Jennings, and
I don't know what just happened, but basically with my coaching program, I always tell people we start 5 minutes late because we're all real estate agents and realtors are notoriously late. I'm not late and I don't typically like to be late, but that's called a stereotype, right? We try not to do those anymore, I guess, but you know, there's so many of you here. I'm so excited. I wonder how many of you are going to hop off when I get to the script practice part and then hop back in when you think it's done. That's what people in my program do all the time. They hop out and then they hop back in.
Actually, you're practice today, actually. So
yeah. Let me go through the outline and kind of what we're going to learn today. And then also I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions about command to put them in the chat. And towards the end, I will try to show everyone how to do the task that is needed to be done based on your chat. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I operate my business in command and I do it at a pretty high level. I used to use Real Geeks for my database when I was pre-KW. So if you're feeling frustrated around command, just know that I have been through about 10 CRMs and command is one of the best. The frustration, I think, comes from the vastness of it and the fact that not everybody uses it the same. Like Karen might love to use it for designs, while I love to use Twilio, and some other people might use MailChimp while I use campaigns. So if you're feeling frustrated with command, there is another agent out there that uses it the way you want to use it. It's just about finding the connection. And bonus, you're going to find a new referral partner if you start looking, right? And if you need a referral partner in Nashville, I'm happy to help. but we have several on that are also happy to help. So here's your outline for Grow Your Database. We're going to start talking about the data bank, which we've already kind of touched on, what the database is and the 4 laws of database management, building your database. And I'm going to throw in a couple of tips on how I built my database to over 12,000 people, feeding your database, your testimonials, your reviews, and really loving on your VIPs and your sphere of influence, communicating with your database. So tagging things and going into like segmenting it and different smart plans and things like that. And then servicing your database and really command services your database. You just have to set it up and then it'll service you with tasks and emails and things like that. And then a daily success system. The daily success system is what I tried to say. So welcome to Ignite Session 6, Grow Your Database. Again, I'm Amanda. Some of you have seen me before because I was on the social media one, and you will also see me again. It is worth mentioning that this is the very last one of 2022. This is 15 days away, and I'm feeling wholly unprepared about that. Somebody else is with me there. But I'm Amanda. I run the productivity coaching program we call it Mount Juliet in Lebanon and Cookeville, but Nashville for people who are not from here. And then I also own and operate a small team, just me and one partner and an assistant. And we did about 17 million last year, just under 17 million last year. So I am in production as well, which I think gives me a unique advantage as a coach, because all the things that I'm going to teach you, I have to do too, right? If I'm going to keep getting paid through real estate. So that's who I am. That's what I do and where I'm from. And my website is musiccitylifestyle.com. And my email is amanda@musiccitylifestyle.com if you need to get a hold of me. All right, before we get started, any questions? So I like to start all of my kind of classes, if you know me, you'll know this about me, with a couple of wins. So if I call your name, do you mind giving me one of your wins from the day and one of your ahas from the last session? What about Tristan Wilkins?
Okay. I gotta say one of my wins for today, and I had a PC coaching, Max coaching earlier this morning, is just being laser focused and really getting to that 201 contacts in my database and strategizing. You know, I've come up with a few ideas of how to do that. And I believe by the end of the year, based on my goal, you know, I'll be a 6-figure earner. So I'm staying positive and doing everything and taking the necessary steps, and accompanied with the MREA book, on the right track.
I love that.
Last class, I'm trying to remember what we taught on last class. I can't remember the topic. I don't know if you have it with you.
I can look it up on my phone. It was number 5.
Generating leads.
Generating leads.
Generating leads, okay. I mean, that's on the line with what we're doing now, and how to generate leads. And I think I had spoken about it too. And since it's around the holidays, you know, I was thinking about my aha moment, and I actually thought about it today as well, was engaging my community, and whether it be through feeding the homeless this time of the year, just trying to be more involved in my community so that I have those 33 touches or however many touches it is, but generating it within my community and my market area, target area that I want to get my clients. So I'm looking forward to reaching out to local homeless shelters or, you know, things of that nature to kind of, you know, brand myself.
For sure. You're looking to get involved in your community and help grow it. And in turn, it will help grow you. I am confident of that. What about, let's see, some of y'all must not want to be called on because it was like cameras off. How about Heather Silberman?
I know, sorry, the dogs and the husband just walked in, so everything was like, what's the initial question? You'd like to know something that I did today that was successful?
Yeah, what was your win from the day?
My win, I've been talking to an investor around here and I finally got to meet up with him at, he's going to be a flipper and I'm really having fun finding properties with him. It was great to meet him. My team lead lives near where we were going, so he showed up just to support me, which was cool. And the next couple weeks, I'm just really behind on marketing. I've been doing scripts. I just got done with Bold. I also, at the same time, simultaneously, they wanted me to do Ignite at Dark. So, and then along with all the Zoom trainings and things, it's just been very busy. So the next couple of weeks, I plan to kick off the new year with like a mailer, and I need to get my door knockers on and stuff like that. So
I love that. All right. Well, are we ready to get started? Growing your network. We know that this is important. We know, again, the rule of 201. So if you want to make more than $120,000 a year, you need to have multiple 201s, right? Growing your network is key, but there are so many different ways to do that. If you don't mind, in the chat box, will you put your, just like it is here, name, number, email, your market center, and your state for me? And this is just so we can see, this is like a contest between your coaches to see who gets the most people. I'm just kidding. This is really just so that we can keep track of everyone and we can make sure you all get the recording should you want it. And then we'll get started. So we already know we're doing Grow Your Database today. And this is kind of similar to what I told you earlier. What I told you was a little bit more detailed than this, but this is your basic outline or agenda for today. So did I have a question somewhere? Gary Keller, the infamous smart man, right? Your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. Now, how you do that is dependent on you, but having a database is key. There are several agents that I have met over the years who don't systematically keep up with their database. And by that, I mean, like, they just put numbers in their phones and they might put something like, Amanda Cotton, Maple Street. And so what that does is there's really a lot of lost opportunity around that, right? Because our brains cannot keep up with that much content to know that I met Amanda Cotton from Maple Street in January, and I need to touch her multiple times throughout the years in order to get a closing from her. So first rule is just like, put the things in your database. If you take in a lot of contacts per week, like maybe you door knock or something, and you're not going to necessarily have your cell phone with you to put everything into the Command app, it's totally fine to put them in a spreadsheet and then upload them into Command later in the day or at the end of the week when you're reconciled. The important part is getting them into the system. All right. What's the difference between leads and contacts? So there is a difference between leads and contacts. Let me tell you the difference. Leads are people who have expressed interest in something you've offered. So maybe you offered a free foreclosure list. That would be an expressive interest. That means that you haven't established a relationship with them yet. You just have their information and that's it. Contacts are the people that you've established a relationship with. So the way Command is set up is, like, say, for example, if you are running a campaign through Command, everything, and you're running it through Facebook, every lead that comes in will be marked as a lead. But once you communicate with them, you should be removing them as a lead and putting them into an opportunity. Does that make sense to everyone? And the reason for that is because you have moved them from a lead to a contact. Contacts will also give you their permission to keep in communication with them over the coming months. The people that make up your sphere of influence are considered your contacts. So you really can build a sphere of influence and a database from leads only, as long as you are turning them into contacts. Now, if they're just coming into command, you're never touching them, you're never sending an email, you're never sending a text message, you're never picking up the phone to call, then it's going to stay a lead because you're probably not ever going to close that lead. Does that make sense? So that is the difference between leads and contacts as far as how command works and definitively. So a lot of agents have really, really successful businesses working with their sphere of influence. And then there are other agents who, let's say, maybe you've moved and now suddenly your sphere of influence went from vast to very small. So now we have to build a whole new sphere of influence. So that is where gathering as many leads as possible comes into play. We focus on our sphere of influence in your success time. So when you are nurturing your leads and you're following your time block, you want to focus on your sphere of influence during that time, because the same way as a lead will not convert if you don't touch them, the sphere of influence will also not convert if you aren't touching them. There's a couple of things that I always tell my agents that kind of goes along with this. The first is just that just because you don't have a sphere doesn't mean you can't build a sphere. You can build a sphere, totally, 100%. And the second is just that in order to close and meet your goals, you have to find the right number of leads to meet those. That makes sense to everybody? Hopefully that makes sense. I'll give you other tips along the way. That might be a little confusing just yet, but we'll get it. Does everybody have the participant guide?
Yes.
Awesome. You do have the participant guide. You are going to turn to the lead generation and database model and just look it over real quick. When we're looking at this model, who can explain to me where database is represented? Is it in the lead gen? Is it in the relationship management? Or is it in the client and referral loop?
Relationship management.
Why?
Say that again.
Why?
Oh, why it's there?
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Yeah. One of your first touches, I guess, because these are people that you know. So that should be, I guess, your priority after lead capture or prospecting.
Exactly, because we want to live in that sphere, right? Your database is all about relationship management. That's why it's called a CRM, right? Relationship management. That is what we're here for. And whether you like prospecting or not, this seems to kind of help the mindset of some of my dual career agents. Everybody, every single business has to prospect for new clients. Now, every business might do it a different way, but a lot of people come into real estate with the mindset of people don't want to be bothered by me. And I want you to change that mindset to I have something that people need. People will have to be contacted by you in order for you to give them what they need, right? And then they got to be continue to contact. So a database can keep you really organized. Going back to like the phone contacts, right? If you're just leaving all your contacts in the phone and you're just trying to search text messages, and I'm guilty of it too, then you're not operating your database at the highest level that it could be, which means you're losing opportunities. Plain and simple, if you're not systematically communicating with them, you're losing opportunities. If you're not prospecting for new contacts, you're losing opportunities. And if you're not putting contacts into your database, then you're not leveraging or automating other tasks. So you're not leveraging your time and you're not automating things like email campaigns, text messages, or just your task list, right? How many of you keeps a running to-do list every day? Yeah. So I do too. Would it not be awesome if your running to-do list had nothing to do with contacts in your database? Because as soon as you log into Command, your task is there. Like, I need to call Mary. It's already here. As long as you log into Command once per day, your tasks are going to show up. So keep it organized. All I heard was it's going to hit me in my face and I lost everything. Hang on one second. Database. Oh, the more you feed your database, The more organized you make it, the smarter it becomes. That's how you get a smart database. So that's going to beat desks full of sticky notes and a phone full of contacts every time because it's already organized, right? Command. It's here. We love it. If you don't love it, you will once you realize how you use it. I think most people avoid using it not because they don't want to use it, but because they are not confident in their ability, or they are overwhelmed with how vast the system is. So to keep it simple, start with contacts, right? Does anybody need to know or need to be shown how to add a contact in Command? I don't see any hands up, so we're going to keep going. Awesome. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in Command. Adding a contact is the very basic of basic. You may see here like this database health. This is how healthy your database is. If we were giving it a score, it'd be like, A to F, but you want most of your contacts to fall in the green. That would be the preference. And the reason for that is because if most of your contacts hit green, then you have 4 pieces of contact information. And if you have 4 pieces of contact information on 201 contacts, then what? No, you make 6 figures.
Make 6 figures.
There we go. Oh, are we having a hard time unmuting?
Yeah.
Sorry. How many of you have not done anything in Command ever? You don't know what it is. You have a login, but you're completely lost on it.
I have not. Still very, very new. I have not used it.
Who is speaking? I cannot hear.
Teresa Wagner.
Teresa, do you want me to tutorial how to put a contact in real quick?
Sure, that would be very helpful.
So I'm going to stop share real quick so that I can get to, it does allow me time to show you how to set up contacts in the schedule. So,
okay.
All right. So to add a contact, this is your login page. So this is what's going to come up as soon as you log in. You'll just hit this little guy in a picture frame over here. I have cutesy names for everything. Y'all get to know me throughout the night. Mm-hmm. And then all you're going to do, so you can see here, these are all my contacts. This is how many people I have in my database. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can import a spreadsheet from a CSV file. However, I encourage all of my agents to enter everything one by one so that you automatically touch them. And that's your first touch, right? Contact, you'll just we'll put my spam email address in here. This is where all my coupons go and like my Bath and Body Works stuff. And then.
Excuse me, I got a question about the email.
Yeah.
So I'm new to this as well. And I've been having a hard time figuring out exactly what to say to people, even like people that I know, pretty much with involving like asking about their email, because most of them just think it's a spam. So they obviously wouldn't want to do that.
So are these people that you know, or are they fresh leads?
Like some of them are like mutual people, like I know them, but I'm not like the closest with them. So
usually my script for that is just like I do a lot of Facebook contact lead and stuff through my program. My script is literally just reach out and just be like, hey, I'm updating my database. If you have any information, you can ask to verify the information. Like, can you verify this is your email address and phone number?
Okay.
If you don't have any of that, you just ask them for it. Just be like, I am cleaning up my database at the end of the year. Was just hoping I could get a couple of things from you, like your phone number, your email address, and your birthday, so I could send you birthday cards. And usually when you're like, so I can send you something, people are like, here's my stuff. So I feel like as long as you're offering them something of value, they're more likely to give you their information.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Tester McTesters, that's our name. This is the email address, the primary phone number. Can mark it as a lead, but if I mark it as a lead, then what is it not?
It is not a contact.
Boom, nailed it. It is not a contact. So I'm not gonna mark it as a lead because I already have their information. You can choose their lead source though. So like maybe this was we did a Santa event this year. So maybe this was a Santa event. And then we'll go into tags later, but that's it. You just hit create.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
If that person has a spouse, where would you enter the spouse information? And then how would you include that information on the communications that's going out?
Okay, so when you'll hit this add more information, or you can go into the contact card, and then you can include the spouse down here in the about as a relationship. So the spouse has to have a separate contact. Does that make sense? So each person will have a contact. And then you would, like, let's say Aaron Payne is married to Testament Tester. So I can pull up Aaron Payne and then connect them. But your communications are going to be to each of them individually.
Got it. Okay. And then once we move them over to the opportunity tab, does both records come over when we get to that point?
You'll be able to put both contacts into the opportunity. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
That's one opportunity. Of course. All right. I have apparently already used my email addresses. So I'm going to move on from this. You will hit create. And then as long as you don't have information that you've input already in your database, you'll have a new contact. But apparently I've used all of my email addresses at various times in training. So and let me get back over to our slideshow real quick.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
If we don't use it as a lead, like if we don't mark it as a lead, or if we mark it as a lead, does the command treat it different than a contact, or is it still a contact to us in command?
Still be a contact in command.
Because the command is not going to treat it any different than a contact if I don't click mark as a lead or not mark as a lead.
Command, you can still put leads on smart plans. You just can't put them in opportunities. So if you were to go start an opportunity, you would just have to unmark it as a lead.
Oh, okay. So it's only going to change with your opportunity, not with anything else when you create the opportunity.
Yes, but ideally, every person that we're making contact with, every person who we get on the phone and is actually conversing with is going to go into a nurture opportunity, right?
Yes.
That way, you're able to track how many people you talked to and your conversion rates by the end of the year.
Okay. All right. I got it. Thank you.
For sure. All right. Back to this. Command is a database of names and contact information, just like the contacts in your phone, but with way more information and the ability to systematically communicate with them. Command also has a goal tracker, which is why you want to move things into a nurture opportunity as you talk to them. That way, you know how many leads to listings and closings you get in order, and how many you'll need the next year to meet that same goal, or if you want to add more, take away more, etc. It also has a task manager in it, which is kind of how we talked about. You'll have tasks once you put them up on smart plans. We've got a lot of people still entering. And then your referral network can also be found in Command, and you can connect with other agents, join communities, and of course, you can get to connect from Command, where we have loads of training. So the 4 laws of database management: build it, feed it, communicate it, service it. One thing I do want to say is Command is a technology tool. And what do we know about technology? Always changing, right? If it wasn't always changing, we wouldn't be forced to buy new cell phones every year, like, because it's like constant. So if for some reason something that we go over today is slightly different on your Command, so if you need any help with figuring out how to do the things that you want to do, and it just didn't follow this video that you have, feel free to shoot me an email and I'm happy to kind of collaborate back and forth. So building it, feeding it, communicating with it, and servicing all the leads that come your way. If you do those 4 things, you're going to make money in real estate.
Excuse me, what's the difference between 2 and 3? Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. The difference between 2 and 3, feeding it is putting new contacts in it. Building is the starting of it, and the getting your smart plans in place and things like that. So feeding it is your, most of you I'm sure have heard, your goal is to get 10 new contacts per day. That's the feeding it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any ahas from that session? Because that went by really fast, I feel like.
Feeding it is putting in contacts.
Feeding it is adding those new contacts, building your sphere bigger, essentially.
If there's extra time, can we just like touch on smart plans?
Yeah, if there is extra time, and if there's not, happy to set up like a one-on-one with you later on. So now you're going to turn to the 4 laws of a database, and we're going to go through all of those things. So we just went over the 4 laws. What's law number 1?
Build it.
Build it. So the first thing you're going to do is put every single person that you already know into your database. I'm going to say the exercise again because it's a really excellent exercise. Go through your phone one by one. Maybe pick, on Monday you do A through C, and then on Tuesday you do however many. This is different from your DTD2s, but this is getting your contacts from your phone into your database. As you put them into your database, make sure you're connecting with them. Again, you could put it into a CSV sheet and then upload it all at the same time, but what's the fun in that? I mean, we want to talk to people. That's our whole goal, right? Is to communicate. For law number 1, building your database, everybody that you already know, love, and care for is going to go in there, as well as all the contact information. And then also any past record of business with you that they've done. So let's say you moved from brokerage A over to KW, and at brokerage A, you had 2 closings. When you move to KW, those people are now going to go in your database. We have already gone through adding the contact. So my husband's making faces at me. He just got home from work. So, sorry. So we have already gone through how to add a contact and how to add additional information. And by the way, guys, if for some reason you don't have all the information from a contact and you're getting it later, you can come back and edit it. We didn't show the editing of contacts, but you can edit it later. And then there's a couple other things that you're going to want to look for if you have them. Let's say I have cousin Mary. I know her email address. I know her phone number. I know her mailing address. What are some other things that you could add to your database that's going to help you systematically touch cousin Mary?
Birthdays and anniversaries.
Birthdays and anniversaries. That's what I was looking for. Also, kids. I learned a long time ago that if you work your way into the kids' hearts, the parents will love you forever. So I started sending out $2 bills to all the kids in my database. So I actually put like relationships and their kids' birthdays in their notes, because every kid wants money. And every kid will remember a $2 bill because they never seen it. You could also do that with like gold coins and things like that. And I just go to the bank, and my local bank knows that I'm coming in to get $2 bills every month. So, but yeah, the more information, the smarter your database is going to be, the easier it's going to be for you to manage. Some other things that you may want to keep in there: home anniversary. So the day they closed. I feel like this is a huge missed opportunity, but rental addresses. A lot of people in my program, we go after rentals because what do we know about them? We know that they don't own a home if they're renting. And if they don't own a home and we get them to buy a home, what are they going to become later?
A buyer.
Well, a seller, right? If we get them to buy a home, later they're going to become a seller. How often do people move in our country?
7 years.
That's the average, 5 to 7 years. So just the more contact information, the more notes, the more stuff you can get in there, the better. There is, if you go to, let me put it in the chat. If you go to this website, answers.kw.com, then you can search for reference guide, and you'll be able to pull a reference guide for how to add contacts and all of that. All right. What's a couple of other things that you might put in your database that like we haven't really covered?
Recreation and pets.
Yeah, pets. If they have pets, or if they just got a new pet, had a new baby,
Their social media.
Yes, their social media. Haya Ali, did I say that right?
Yes. So I'm one of the people who moved, so my database is not huge. Do I care to put everybody from my hometown in my database?
Yes, let me tell you why. You want as many people in your database as possible. But one of the amazing things about Command is we can set up searches right in Command. So let's say you have a cousin back in, I don't know, I'm in Nashville. I have a cousin in Memphis. Let's say I have a cousin in Memphis. Even though Memphis isn't in my MLS, if I was talking to my cousin at Thanksgiving dinner and she was like, you know, I've been thinking about buying a house, but I'm not real sure, I can set her up on a search in Command, even though I'm not a member of the Memphis MLS. That way she gets daily email listings for her area. So there's two things that does. Number one, it keeps you top of mind for people that are, you know, you're not around every day. And number two, if they see something they're interested in, they're going to reach out to you. And then what are you going to do?
Referral in that.
You're going to throw a referral to another agent's way. So that's what we call Melbat's money, right? That's easy money. So making sure that your sphere of influence knows that you can help them anywhere in the world, as long as there is a KW office, and we're in dozens of countries. So they still want to be in your database. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For sure, for sure. One of the other things that I think people miss is don't forget to put your vendors in your database, right? Sister or brother Timmy down the road, he paints houses. I probably need Timmy in my database, because if I am sending business to Timmy, what's Timmy going to do?
Send business to you.
Nailed it. So don't leave out your businesses just because they're in your phone and you think, well, why would that person send me business? They will. It's, you know, handshake for a handshake, right? Definitely don't leave out your vendors. And I will tell you how to get even more vendors in just a little bit. And then while you're going through and collecting your contacts, walk through. You guys have heard of Ford and Frog, right? Ford is family, occupation, relationships,
Dreams.
And then Frog is
Family, recreation, occupation, and the G is goals.
Yes, goals. And you can use either one, truthfully, but Frog may be a good one to use if you know somebody's been looking for homes. Like you might say, you know, what are your real estate goals in the next year? I can't see the chat right now. I will check it in just a moment. All right, so we already talked about entering your contacts manually. You can also sync contacts with Command from third-party systems like Google Contacts. This says it also does Android and iPhone contacts. I did not know that. We'll be freshening up on that when we get off. And then importing them through a template, which we did go over. Here we're talking about entering your details for each contact, talking about as much information as possible. So here what you're seeing, guys, is a contact card. So where we added Testament Tester earlier, if I double click on Testament Tester's name, it opens to their contact card. And in their contact card is going to be everything that I have included. Who knows what this little L up here means?
Lead.
Yes, it's a lead. So now we have the lead, and then we have the smart plans that it has been set up, the smart plans that have been set up for this lead. You can come down here and add a neighborhood. That's going to be if you have their address. You can also, if you're a rainmaker, you can release ownership and move it to a different Command account. So lots of different things to do within your contacts. On the right side, this is their timeline. So if you see at the top, smart plan ended, that means that they're not going to get any more notifications from that smart plan. And then you see right here where it says subscribed, that means that is where the smart plan starts. I want you to be very cautious about setting hundreds of people up on smart plans at the same time. Let me tell you why. If you go in and you are prepared to set up 100 people on smart plans, that is great. What I want you to do is make sure you stagger their start date. And the reason I want you to do that is because if you set up 100 contacts on smart plans in one day and you put start now, then in a month from now, when it's time to touch those 100 contacts, you're going to get 100 tasks at the forefront of your command. And if you're like me and you see 100 tasks when you open up your command, you're just going to shut it, because that's who I am. Like, I can handle like 20, 25 tasks a day. Any more than that, I can't do it. So make sure you stagger their start dates. I did have one person do that one time, did not stagger their start dates. And this is kind of how we learned about this, because I was like, holy cow. But yeah, they did 300 in one day, and it started all on that day. And so we had to take them all off and start all over again. It's just a little tip there. And then you can import the template, of course, which we talked about. Again, if you do not know how to add contacts, how to get the contact card, go to that link that I dropped in the chat, and you can just type in contact in the search bar and you'll get all kinds of articles. You can also check out Command Your Database, which is a course on Connect that is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's free. If it's not free, don't hate me, but I'm like 99.9% sure it's free, and it'll teach you all about contacts. And if you have not heard of the Marty Miller 66-day challenge, please go YouTube that. 66 days of command specific training in under 15 minutes or less per day. Some of them are as short as 4 minutes long. So if you really want to get deep into command, I highly suggest starting that. That is the Marty Miller 66-day challenge for command. All right, now we're going to feeding your database. Oh, here's everything that I just told you. Feed your database. Feed it every day through prospecting and marketing. What's your goal per day? How many new contacts?
10.
10 new contacts a day. 10 new contacts a day. If you put 10 new contacts per day and you do that 5 days a week, then how long will it take you to get 200 contacts in your database?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. So imagine if you did that every single week. We know that it'll only take you a month to net 100 grand. So imagine if you did that every single week. That is where, everyone, we get the millionaire real estate agent, feeding it. So I'm going to give you a couple of different ways to feed it. Number one is obviously just running ads, right? We run ads for, right now, we're seeing great results on an ad that I call Foreclosures Are Back. And essentially it's literally just a video that I threw together in Canva of the ugliest houses that I could find on my MLS. And the ad copy literally just says, foreclosures are back, or foreclosures took a small hiatus during the pandemic, but they're coming back. Click here to get your free list. And we're getting loads of leads every day through that. I think since we launched that campaign, maybe 12 days ago, it might be like, it's like 2-ish weeks. We've had 42 leads. Of those 42 leads, we had 20 give us at least 4 parts of contacts, 4 parts of their contact. So that means I have 20 new contacts from just that campaign. And it's costing me like 40 cents a lead to put into my database. So obviously that's an example of marketing, but let's hear some prospecting ideas, because this is like my jam. I love prospecting, and then I'll give you some ideas as well. So shout out some things you can do to prospect.
By
Get
prospect,
involved.
do you mean like, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say, let me give you a definition and then I'll re-ask. Prospecting is actively seeking leads and building relationships through conversations. So marketing is the leads come to you. Prospecting is I find the leads. Does that make sense?
Circle prospecting.
Door knocking, excellent.
Or farming.
Farming, for sure.
Circle prospecting.
circle prospect. Mailers for sure.
You say joining
talk to a lot of people.
like a local club or something like that, where you would meet with people on like a weekly basis and talk to them?
Absolutely, for sure. I love to coach around finding your passion. So, like mine is pets, really, like I'm the Crazy Cat Realtor. That's what all my socials are, Crazy Cat Realtor. So I do a lot of prospecting through communicating with shelters, offering like shelter fees, food, things like that. I have a friend, her name's Jennifer. She loves to hike and camp. So she started a community just for hiking and camping on Facebook. And so she's got about 1,500 members now, and more than 100 have given her all contact information. So find your passion and find your people, right? That makes it fun. Some other ways to prospect: business to business. I love the idea of going out and celebrating small businesses and local businesses. So we will do like business highlights. So this is something that you might be able to take away, where you go into a small business, you meet with the owner and you say, hey, I would love to get you on video talking about your business. I will film it. I will edit it. And most of you aren't probably going to edit it in anything but, iMovie. And I will put it on my Facebook page and on my YouTube to advertise for you. And what does that do for them?
Free marketing, free advertising.
Free
Generates,
advertising.
yeah.
And what's that do for you?
Should be almost the same, because anybody that would go to that small business and found it through you would then, potentially talk and communicate about you being the one that drove them there.
Exactly. And you may even get things like, if donut holes, we're going to call the business down the street Donut Holes. Maybe Donut Holes, you go, you interview, you video, you share it on yours. What if Donut Holes then takes your video and shares it to theirs? Then that's driving traffic back to you, isn't it? Not only that, but what are you going to have in order to send them the video?
Their contact information.
Boom, their contact information. So business to business, great way to build that database or feed that database. Another way, and again, if you are in my coaching program, you've heard me say this recently, I have had really, really amazing success by asking for vendors on things like Nextdoor and in Facebook groups. And I'll just say something like, hey, who do you recommend as a painter? And then what are people going to comment?
They're going to provide you with their painter and their phone number.
And their phone number.
Contact information.
And then what are you going to do?
Put it in my database.
Yeah.
And call them.
You're going to put it in your database, and then you're going to call them, and then you're going to get the other two pieces of contact information that you need, and you are going to offer to be a referral partner, right? So like, hey, I would love to put this in my closing packet for my clients with you as a painter. Is it okay if I send you business? And if you know of anyone looking to buy or sell real estate, please keep me in mind. Super easy, right? Any other ideas coming up as we're discussing this?
Open houses.
Mm-hmm.
I heard last week, and I don't know if it was on this call or another call, someone said that they just hung around Home Depot.
I have heard that before. I have never done that, but I have heard. There's a agent in my office. His name's Jason Anderson. And he says like he picks up people from the Home Depot paint section all the time. Like he just hangs out there. And he's like, oh, you don't want to choose that color. That is not trendy at all. He's a lot more brazen than I am. Like I'm not going to go tell someone that, their color choice is bad. But he will, and that's fine. It works for him. But he does get a lot of contacts that way, I got to tell you. What else? Anybody else?
I work in a restaurant and I use a lot of people, or I talk to a lot of people in the restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Restaurants are a great way for contact. I have a client who's in my coaching program. Her name is Chrissy. She went around, I've been telling this story a lot lately, so if you've heard it, my apologies. But she went to, we have a lot of breweries in our area, and we have one that has 4 locations. It's called Tailgate Brewery. She went to that brewery. She found that owner. She set up a meeting with that owner, and she said, hey, I'm going to offer you something for your employees. I want to come in and I want to provide lunch and learns. And I want to be able to give them $2,500 in closing costs if they use me as their agent. She's not paying that $2,500. Her lender partner is. So what a great way, right? Like it's an employee package, an employee benefit package, essentially. And I just thought that was brilliant. So take that, with what you will.
I'm not sure if this is just my state or if I don't know this, but like, so would that force that person to use that lender?
Yes,
I think that's illegal in my state.
It wouldn't force, right? It would be an option. It would just be, if you want the $2,500, then you have to use our preferred lender. But as far as like the employee benefit package, the employee benefit is just that she's coming in and teaching these lunch and learns to them. And then the lender is offering $2,500 in closing cost, which I don't know of a state that's illegal in, but I will say that in my state, every lender I talk to is willing to offer $2,500 in closing costs to work with me. So I can almost guarantee if you go out and you speak to 3 lenders, 2 out of the 3 are going to say, yeah, we can totally do some co-branding and offer $2,500. Here's a couple of things that have been offered like that recently through my program. We had one person say, I just got married. I have a huge database of newlyweds because that's the stage of life I'm in. I'm 23. So what she did was she got with a lender and she said, hey, how much can you give me in closing costs so I can start branding us? And the lender was like $2,500, which is a pretty standard. Most lenders can give $2,500. And so they created a MOFR, which is a make offer for immediate response, if you've not heard that before. And the advertising is around $2,500 in closing cost if you are newly engaged or married within the last year. And so what is she doing? She's feeding that database with a bunch of people who are the same age range as her, who she has things in common with. So she's going to be able to talk to all kinds of ways that you can go about that. So definitely check with your state, but I'm pretty sure as long as you give them the option to use someone else, then it wouldn't be illegal. But again, every state's different and I'm in Tennessee. So let's do a little exercise. Who do you know in your sphere that might refer someone looking to buy or sell in the next? I want you to take that person and I want you to write down their name. And then tomorrow, I want you to go ask that person for a referral. That's all you're going to do. Just say, hey, who do you know who's looking to buy or sell in the next 12 months? Can you share their name with me? I would love to reach out. You're going to get some no's. It's a numbers game, right? You got to get to the no. You got to get through the no's to get to the yeses. In general, your sphere of influence knows you, loves you, and wants you to succeed. Now, if you've got a frenemy in your sphere of influence, they probably do not want you to succeed. So maybe go for like familial or people that love you. But by all means, if you can buy or sell a house to your frenemy, do that too. All right, a bunch of other ways to feed your database. Think outside of the box. Think, how can I get phone numbers without making people uncomfortable? Who can I ask? What can I do? Where can I go? There are a lot of people who live in homeowners associations. I live in a my house has an HOA. Do you know that every single person that is in my neighborhood is also in my database? Because what does my HOA have? It has a directory, right? My HOA has a directory. So I took that directory and I reached out to every one of my neighbors as soon as I moved in, let them know who I was, what I did, and asked them if it would be okay to keep them in touch with the market. And then what I did is I went in and I added every single person to my database because there's not a single person that said no. I would like to say that my neighborhood is 55 houses total. So like if you live in a vast neighborhood, maybe break it up. But nobody said no. And what I did was I added them all in my database, and then I put in all their addresses because that came from the roster. And then I set them up on neighborhood nurtures, monthly neighborhood nurtures. That way, at least I know they're seeing what's going on in the neighborhood. And then whenever a home in our neighborhood gets listed or sells, you better believe I pick up that phone and I call all 55 people and I let them know. Your sphere is your biggest cheerleader, right? Like your sphere of influence, really, these are your people that are like, yes, I love Amanda. I want to see Amanda succeed. So don't hesitate to ask them for referral business. They likely will want to give you referrals because they want to see you succeed. Another thing that you might come across while you're reaching out to these people and you're asking them for referrals is that they have a real estate need. It might not be that they're going to be buying or selling, but what are some other needs that people have around real estate?
Vendor
recommendations. Yeah. Refis, painters, right? We already talked about that. Gutter cleaning. Right now, we are touching people in our database, letting them know that they need to winterize their home. How many of you did not know that you needed to close all the little vents around your house if you have a crawl space in the winter because you were a first-time home buyer? So many people don't know that. So think outside of the box. We want to be original as possible, obviously, but because if you give them value, they will provide value back. If you've never read The Go-Giver by Bob Burg, it's kind of where I love that book. And I kind of lead my business like that. So hop over to Amazon and get that. Or if you have the new Amazon Unlimited, go ahead and download it because it is on there. Not Amazon Unlimited, not Audible Unlimited, Kindle Unlimited.
Can you repeat what it's called?
Yeah, it's by Bob Burg and it's called The Go-Giver. It's such a good book. And you can like go online and find like worksheets and stuff so that you can work through the book. You can also, he's got a whole coaching program that you could purchase, but honestly, just reading the book will open up your eyes. One of the concepts that he talks about is having a home base. So when he got started in the sales business, he chose a restaurant and he went to that restaurant every single day for 4 hours a day. And he met all of his appointments there. So each appointment would have a different course, right? Appointment 1 might just be coffee. Appointment 2, maybe that's lunch. Appointment 3, it's a dessert or a drinks. And appointment 4, drinks. And then what happened was everybody at the restaurant got to know him. So that hostess who's 16 years old, yeah, she probably doesn't have anybody looking to buy or sell a house right now, but her parents do. And you better believe if she's seeing your face in there every day, she's going to relate you to real estate. So I'll get off my little rant about Bob Burg because he's great, but do read it. It's really, really good. So a couple of things that we want to keep in mind when we are feeding our database: responsiveness and attentiveness, attention to detail, professionalism, and empathy. So as we're feeding our database and we're communicating with them, we want to make sure, again, that it's systematic and also that we are cognizant of things that are going on in their life, which is why we use the Ford model, right? Because I got to tell you, like if I'm talking to Frank and Frank told me that his dad just was diagnosed with cancer, it's probably not a good time to ask for a referral, but it is absolutely an excellent time to offer to make him a meal. So just keep that in mind. You got to read people. So I'm going to leave you to yourself for about 5 minutes to do an exercise. And all you're doing is trying to come up with as many ways possible as you can grow your database. And then once we do that, we'll move into the next little step, which is getting referrals through as quickly as you can, just as many different ways of how you can prospect, not how Amanda would prospect, how you could prospect, what fits your personality, right? Amanda is not not a great texter. Like I forget to text people back, but I can text, but it's probably not the best prospecting tool for me. And then we'll have a little share.
I have a question while we're waiting, Amanda.
Yes,
With,
ma'am.
with referrals, it has to be a KW office has to be in that city. Is that correct? To get a referral fee?
No. So you can do referrals to any agent in any city, in any office, just in order to set them up through command on
Has
a
to be through KW. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Hosting buyer seminars, listing seminars, investing seminars, expired listings. You.
Love that. Also a really hot one is credit repair seminars. Just I've gotten really good feedback from those because all that does is build my pipeline for later. Who else? So I would have pins made with my name, and I haven't done this in a long time, but I would swap out my pins, or I would leave my pin because servers always need pins. And then now every time that server is giving out my pin, people are seeing my name and my info. So that was a good way to write off some stuff at the end of the year, a couple of years.
That's a good idea.
Especially if it's a good pen, because I
Especially if it's a good pen. Because how many
I
of us
still
have been
pen,
like,
so
taking
not
this?
just a big, not just a big.
What information is on the pen? Like just your name or name and
Yeah.
email?
Yeah, so in our state, marketing materials don't have to have our brokerage name. They don't have to have our license number. I'm sure it's not like that in every state, but it just had my name, my email, my website, my phone number.
I made 2 pens from Zazzle and they were awesome. I kept them for myself, but I needed to make some more so I can do what you just said. When you,
Googling
sign
pens
your
now.
name.
She said she's Googling pins right now.
From Etsy.
Make sure they write smooth though. Order a sample if you can, because don't nobody want one of those scratchy pins.
I want a gel pen, a gel gliding pen.
All right, next thing, 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes. I'm going to set the timer to 2 minutes. Now, I want you to write down every single person that you can think of that would give you a review, even though you have never bought or sold a house with them. Think mom, dad, brother, sister, right? So whoever will give you an online review. They might do it on Facebook, which is now called a recommendation. The timer is running. Or they might do it if you have your Google profile set up. I prefer all my reviews go through Google. They may do it on LinkedIn. You can do LinkedIn reviews, and they might just send an email. But whoever you can get to put something in writing that you are a great agent, as many people as you can think of. 30 seconds. All right, how many of you had more than 5 people? Beautiful, love that. Amazing. The exercise actually says ask for 5, but I figure the more the better, right? The more the merrier. So now what you're going to do when you leave or when you start prospecting in the morning, or whenever you decide to prospect, because a lot of you are dual career, you're going to go and you're going to ask for those reviews in whatever medium you want the review in. And then once you, truthfully, I feel like Google is the best bang for your buck with reviews, because every review is going to put you higher in your SEO, which means you're going to start inching up towards the first 3 pages. Whereas agents with no reviews on their Google profile are going to be towards the back. And then you're going to ask for that review from mom, brother, sister, dad, whoever. You're going to gather the review that they gave you and create a testimonial graphic. You can do those through Command. You can do it through Canva, PixArt, whatever you use. And then you're going to share that graphic everywhere. All your social media sites, all your stories, everywhere that you can think of sharing that you're a great agent, you're going to share that. It makes for excellent content. And the other thing is, if you look busy on social media, you will become busy because you will position yourself as the go-to expert in your social sphere. Does that make sense? Before we move on to communicating with your database and getting into smart plans a little bit, any ahas?
Yeah, swiping that pen out.
Anybody else have any ahas?
I agree with the pen thing. I'm ordering pens too.
Y'all are cracking me up with the pins.
I mentioned that during coaching sessions.
I don't know. It just came to me now. I just remember doing it. And now it's been like 6 years since I did that.
Everybody in Nashville's getting a pin from me. The ones who are on here tonight that are hearing it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you guys, please add me, Naomi, to your database, and whoever else wants to put their information in the chat, I'll appreciate it and I'll refer back.
All of everybody's information is in the chat.
Yes, so we can get referrals with each other. I'm in Nashville. I see a couple in Memphis, Michigan. We can collaborate.
You got a St.
Good
Louis,
idea,
New
Naomi.
York.
Murfreesboro.
Audrey, did you say something?
I was saying Naomi's idea was very good. I'm in North Carolina, so that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, we could be referral partners. Let's go. We're all newbies. And you know, Amanda, one thing that really irks me is when I get on social media and someone's looking for a referral and they say they need someone with multiple experience. Like, oh my God. I mean, you don't have to be old to have experience. I mean, you know, to be a good agent, should I say, to be a good agent. Mainly, I've spoke with some, you know, before I became into this field, some old realtors that I guess they're just above themselves and think they know it all and was no good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You would be amazed.
It irks me.
So there are over 50 of us on this call. 50 of us. Imagine if all 50 of us sent one referral to somebody on the, imagine the business that we could do. Also, if you have not taken people's information from the chat and started to move it over into your contact database as we're going along, that is probably a good idea for the next 30 minutes. Because what is that? It starts with an F.
Feeding your contact.
Feeding database.
Feeding the database. Feeding the database. All right, let's move on. Third law, communication. How many of you know agents, and I bet you do, who are great at prospecting and great at getting contacts, and then they just never do anything with them?
But they'd be such a good like shoemaker.
I mean, you could just not communicate with them, I guess, if that's what you wanted to do, but feels like you probably should, right? All right, so communicating with your database. In section 5, you learned a lot about relationships, building relationships, and now we're going to talk about how to accomplish communicating with those relationships.
While you do that, just a quick question. Is there a way for us to get the chat, like everyone's information after the session for a referral database?
I want to say they email it out, but they might only email it out to the coaches. Let me
You bring
I
up
screenshot it.
if you bring up the chat, like if you click on the chat and you bring up the actual meeting chat, in the bottom right hand, there's like a little smiley face. Next to that smiley face is like 3 dots.
Oh, yeah.
If you click on the dots, it says like save chat. And it'll save it right to your, it'll download it right to your desktop.
Thank you, guys.
You're so smart.
And
Because I copied and
sending.
pasted and put it in a document.
You're all gonna get notifications from me soon.
In the previous emails, they've been sending the referrals. Everybody's on the call with the recording. That's what they've been doing in the last 5
That's what I thought, but I didn't know if it was just for coaches or if they were sending it to everybody, but that's what I thought.
It's an Excel document. Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. This is kind of about those reviews that we just talked about. I aim for 1 to 2 new reviews per week. I don't always get them, but I always aim for them. 1 to 2 new reviews. It gives you content. It gives you, what's the word I'm looking for? It gives you validity as an agent, right? And then I want to kind of touch on the new agent aspect, because I think that that is something that we hear a lot as new agents, like, you're too new to help me. You don't know what's going on. And what I want to tell you is this. Number one, you're the one that went through school. You're the one that holds the license, and you're the one that are continuing to benefit your clients by continuously learning all the time, all day. Number two, use your market center as your team, right? So if Crystal has a new client and that client says, listen, Crystal, I really want to go with you, but I'm just worried about your level of experience. Crystal's going to come back right back and say, listen, I get that. I understand that. But what I want you to know is that everyone starts somewhere, and I'm not starting at this alone. I have the full support of my office, of my coach, and of my broker. And combined, we did $300 million in sales last year. Or if you were using your coach, for example, I have the full support and backing of my coach. She's going to hold my hand the full way through. And she did $16 million in sales last year. She holds her broker's license, and she's been doing this for a decade. So use your, even if you're not on a team, your office and your staff as a team, because they are there. And is there anyone in here that believes that the people in their KW office is just going to not help them if they need help? Hopefully there's not, because that would be way out of culture for KW. So just a little objection handle in there. So we already did this activity, but here are some of the things that you could ask for the reviews to be on. You know, oh, Amanda was great. She has a high level of attention to detail. To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with database with the intent of building close relationships. Lead with value. I know you guys have heard that 9,000 times if you've been through it night, and sure that you hear it when you are in your team meetings and when you're discussing with your coach prospecting ideas. Lead with value and build relationships. If you start looking at your database as relationship building, then you will start communicating with them like you do people that you are close with, right? So that's that relationship aspect. Number three, communicate systematically. How many of you have heard DTD2s? Actually, how many of you have not heard of DTD2s? I don't see any hands going up. Awesome. Your DTD2s, you may see them. I know in our market center, they are on our training calendar at the top left-hand corner of Monday of every week. I can tell you exactly what this week's are. Y'all are probably like, well, don't you know? Because didn't you do it? But my partner Whitney does the DTD2s. So I don't know, but we do systematically communicate. All right, this week was, today's the 13th, T and J. So all last names that start with T and J is who Whitney will be touching this week. So DTD2s, those are, it's just a way to touch people 33 times through the year. It's a system, right? That's what we need, is systems. Here, they're talking about segmenting your database, and who knows how we do that in Command?
With tags.
With tags, exactly. I have tags for like for example, right now, we're doing a contest, our December giveaway contest, and we're giving away a $500 Southwest gift card. So each lead that comes in, because I'm running my campaigns through Command, is automatically tagged with SWGC, Southwest Gift Card 2022. So I know that these people entered that contest. And then next time, if like we're doing an Amazon Echo show in January, if they enter for the Amazon Echo show, because they're already in my database, it's going to have that tag next to it. So I know when I call them that they also entered for the Southwest gift card. And I can say, hey, so sorry you didn't win the Southwest gift card, but so excited that you entered for the Amazon Echo show, blah, blah, blah. Here's my spiel. By the way, know anybody looking to move, buy or sell in the next 12 months? That's how we segment our database. I don't feel like you really need to go in and like tag mom, tag dad, tag sister, tag cousin, because unless your family is huge, mine's very small. Unless your family is huge, you probably know who those people are. But I do tag things like lenders. I tag things, especially like I have some lender in our state. We have a program called THDA, which is a down payment assistance program for Tennessee residents. And there are a lot of lenders that don't do THDA, but I was the top selling agent for THDA 2 years in a row. So I have a tag that says does not do THDA because better believe if I know someone doesn't have a down payment, I'm not sending them to a lender that is tagged does not do THDA. All right. What are some other examples of tags or categories that you might put into your database or that you already have in your database?
Vendors, the different vendors.
For sure.
Would you put if they're a renter or not?
Absolutely. That's an excellent one. Or they've bought. Like I have a tag for bought. Agent referrals, right? All of these agents, you're going to tag them as an agent referral when you go to put them in your database. Who else has some ideas? We got
You put like, for example, college students engaged or something like that. So this way, you know, like they could be a potential possibly moving out from their parents' house to maybe their own house or something.
Absolutely, because as your database grows and the longer you stay in business, they're going to go through all kinds of life stages. So while they're in college, you may have college. And then when they graduate, you may have graduated as an anniversary date or as a note. Hey, they graduated on this day. I need to send a card. Service providers, painters, gutter people, lenders. Let me think of some other tags I have. The VIP tag. So the VIP tag is anyone in my database. You can assign VIP to whoever you want to. In my database, the VIP tag goes on any contact that has done 3 or more transactions with me. Your VIP, as you're just getting started out, might be your first closing. That's your VIP, right? Assign your tags that make sense to you. And you can create all the tags you want. I have a friend who's an agent named Elisa, and she is like tag crazy. Like she has tags for everything. Like I think she even has neighborhood tags, like, and then she has like house or townhome if they purchased. So it'll say bought, and then it'll say townhome or bought, and then single family home. She's got investor tags. She's got loads of tags, way more tags than I have, but she uses those tags to segment and categorize. And that's just another way to systematically reach people in your database. We got 15 more minutes. Hang in there with me. I know it's going slow, but I promise you it's going to be great. So this has an activity. It says it's going to take 10 minutes. I'm going to say we do 5 minutes just so we can get moving. And what you're going to do is you're all going to turn off mute and you're going to communicate with each other as a whole group, different categories that you probably naturally have in your database, like family, right? A tag might be for family, and different categories that you may want to add to your database or that you think would be really helpful in your database. And then we'll take about 5 minutes.
Their hobbies.
Oh, that's a good one. Hobbies is a good one.
I have a tag when they're from, I guess lead source is already on there. So, but I have a tag for that too. So if it comes from a certain lead source that I may have to pay out.
Oh yeah, like Opcity or Zillow or whatever. Love that.
It's a Spears tag as well.
Mm-hmm. Sphere of influence.
Local business owners.
Love that. Small business owners.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, people from the Chamber of Commerce. Yes, sir.
I have a separate one for like my old coworkers from previous jobs.
That's a good one.
So smart. So smart.
HR for corporations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Or even breaking it down to like Amazon. Like maybe you have a lot of Amazon contacts like we do in Tennessee because we have like Amazon hubs here. Yeah. Or lots of like manufacturing here, car manufacturers. So I might put like Nissan or I don't know, GM.
I had a separate one as well for some of my old classmates when I was going through realtor school. I kept in touch with a lot of them.
I love that because what do we know about people who get their real estate license? 80% will hang it up in the first 2 years.
80%.
It's a crazy high turnover. It's like restaurant turnover. My partner always gets really down on herself whenever we have a team member leave the team. And I have to always remind her, like, that's just part of it. Like, it is a high turnover business. And that's what's so great about Ignite and Command is that the people who get real clear on feeding their database and systematically communicating with it are going to be in the 20%, right? Because they're going to see deals from consistency. What other ideas do we got? From church? You know them from church?
I have them for like my kids' schools.
I was just about to say, if you have PTO or PTA, absolutely. Teachers even, if you've got the teacher contact info, if you are on the PTO, even better, because you got everything. My daughter is a senior in high school this year. She's 18, but I remember I was in PTO all through elementary and middle school. And I remember at her high school orientation, when they said we would love volunteers for PTO, she whipped her head around so fast and she was like, nope, you're done. So I've not been on the PTO in 4 years.
She was like, nope, mama, not this one.
Not in high school. Because, man, I did everything in middle school and I was always there. Always. So she was done with that. I just can't believe she's graduating now. You might, if you're putting graduates, especially college graduates, you might put the year they graduated, because those college graduates will have classmates that graduated, which means they'll be in the same life stage. So if you know they graduated in 2023, then you know if they graduated college in 2023, then you know in the next 5 years, they're probably going to have received several promotions. Anyone else have any ideas? Sports league,
Beauty
nonprofit?
salons, barbershops.
Yes, barbershops, beauty salons, nail techs. I don't think what I'm trying to do the slideshow, but like there's the Zoom screen and then there's the little info bar. So I got to move everything around. Sorry about that. So communicating with your segments. So this is kind of breaking in, giving you examples of different messages that you can send all at once. How many knows that you can send multiple text messages and multiple emails at once? And you do that by tags. So you may say, I want to send a mass text through Twilio to every person who is tagged golf. And then it might say, hey, review of golf First Core neighborhood. Or you might say, hey, I visited so-and-so and they're having a great special if you buy a year's worth of 18 holes right now. So creating a customized message so that it looks like you are targeting that individual specifically, when really you're saving yourself a whole lot of time by segmenting. All right, communicate with value. Leads, 19 to connect, 1 to cement. I'm Southern, y'all. A lot of words come out the same as other words, okay? And 36 to convert. 19 to connect. That's saying 19 touches per year for every new lead that comes through your database. 4 touches, a quarterly phone call. 12 touches through email, newsletter, market report, video. I have had a lot of success lately sending, y'all know you can just record videos through your text messages now instead of calling, because come on, it's 2023. How many of you avoid phone calls? Like you don't pick up, you're like, just text me. And also don't leave me a voicemail, right? Nobody checks their voicemail anymore. Just text me. So I've had a great success with, instead of calling them, doing a video and making sure I personalize their video. So, hey, Vicki, so great to talk to you. Just wanted to touch base and let you know that I'm going to be sending over an email this month about all the Christmas events that are happening in Nashville for the next 2 weeks, something like that. 2 touches. So these are your promotional touches. So these are things like your pins, the sports calendars. New Year's is right around the corner. So magnet calendars, those are great. I love magnets because people look at them all year long and sometimes for several years, right? I mean, I've got magnets that were on my mom's fridge that were like from vacation. So quite frankly, magnets are useful. So magnets are a great way. 1 to cement. This is your high value touch to solidify the relationship and open the door for future interactions. So what's going to be a high value touch? Anybody have any ideas?
Like a pop-up, maybe?
Yeah, like a pop by. That would be a good one.
Like dinner, lunch,
birthday presents, things like that. And then 36 to convert. And those are for your already existing contacts. So this is not the leads, these are the contacts. 4 touches, 26 touches, 2 touches, and 4 more touches. So if you are on a Mac or you're on your phone or whatever, feel free to take a screenshot of this. We'll get moving. By the way, if you don't know how to use the library and Smart Plans, a lot of these plans are already built out for you. You just hit library, find one you like, download it, edit it to your preferences. For example, all of my Facebook leads, the Facebook Smart Plan that they're on just came from the library. And all I did was put in my information where I'm at. Okay, so database, smart database, data bank. Basically, contacts, systematically touch them, make money. And then service your database. Your job is to build a community and serve the community. And we've already talked about that so many times tonight, where leading with value, providing value to people makes you valuable, right? You want to be valuable to people. You want to provide things to your community. One of the things that we do is the elementary school where I was PTO, and then the middle school where I was also PTO. I am still in touch with their current PTO presidents, and I still provide 1 lunch per semester. So that's 2 lunches per school per year, as well as the PTO and the teachers know, like, hey, if we really need, like, this kid has got to get some clothes, teachers should not be spending any of their money on clothes for students. They know they can call Amanda, and Amanda probably will be able to get something out there the next day for them. Or they know that if there is a student that is hungry and their family is struggling, they can reach out to me and we will get them some kind of gift card for food or drop off food or something like that. Servicing your community to just serve your community, right? So I want you to go into it with the head of, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do, not because it's going to build my database. That will come naturally. And then service all your leads. Make sure that you have a follow-up program. Make sure that you're leveraging things like Smart Plans, so you don't have to create a task list every day, and you don't have to create email templates, because everybody that's on the Smart Plan gets the same email. Create it once, you use it multiple times. And then this is talking about different ways to service leads within your command, obviously opportunities. So this is that nurture or cultivate that I was talking about, where as soon as you remove them from a lead, once you've made contact and you've talked to them, take them out of the lead status and move them into the cultivate status. And this will help you track your numbers throughout the year so that you know how many leads you need to meet your goals based on your conversion rate. Because for your first year, this is all going to be average conversion rates. So for example, when you're going in, you're putting in your goals, I think it's 75% of leads close on average, but mine is more like 92%. So I know that I can change those numbers because I've tracked. Does that make sense? Campaigns, that's where you're going to get more leads. That's where you're going to do your email blasts, your paid advertising. And then consumer, which I'm going to be honest, this is one of those that I don't use very much. I don't use this tab a lot at all, but you might, because command is so vast, everybody's going to use it differently. And I guarantee you there is an agent out there that uses it exactly the way you want to use it. Find that agent, share referrals. So recommended training here, check out your command your database, which we talked about going into Connect from command. And then that's it. You made it. You're graduates of Ignite Session 6. Any ahas before we get off here? This is a review of the core laws of database. I get an email in the next day or two with everyone's info. Oh, that was from later. Okay, yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't have been able to raise your hand.
Hey, Amanda, it's me. It was just my mouse connection was off. So I had a question before. It was like, I think it was about the DTD2s. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know what that means. Are you able to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, and actually I can get you a schedule of DTD2s. Am I still sharing my screen? I'm not, right?
No.
I want y'all to see how many tabs I have open. Let me get you a schedule of DTD2s so that you have one for your records. But so DTD2 is doing your database to the second power or doing your database twice. Basically, it's calling all the letters of the alphabet by last name. And then because there's 23 letters in the or 27 letters in the alphabet, if you do that weekly, then you'll touch them twice. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That you're attaching here. All right. Any other questions or any other ahas?
And just for Karen, I believe on the monthly calendar, it has the D2B.
On
ain't
ours,
it on the
it
calendar? Yeah.
Yeah, on ours it does, but theirs may not.
Oh, I forgot everybody's not from here. My bad.
Yeah, I'm from the Jersey office in Summit, and I think I tried and I don't have access. So I'll ask my team.
Yeah, they probably have one, like KWRI has one. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen so you can screenshot it. I think that'll be the easiest way. So this is the DTD2 schedule for 2021. The only thing that's going to be different here is the date that you started, because you start on Mondays. And so obviously, if January 1st was January 1st, if January 1st was a Monday in 2021, then January 5th is going to be a Monday in 2022, unless there's a leap year, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea.
This is great. Thank you so much.
For sure. All right. Well, I wish you so much amazing luck. Follow me on Instagram, add me as a friend on Facebook. I cannot wait to see your testimonials scroll across my screen in your stories, and I'll be looking. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.